The white pheasant is mainly annoying for gamekeeper Charlie Wilson. You may remember Charlie. He made a fleeting appearance in the 2012 Olympics when his son, double-trap gold medalist Peter Wilson, interrupted a BBC TV interview to shout, "Dad!" Today, Peter runs the shoot and employs his dad as gamekeeper.
So we shoot 6 days a year. We're a family shoot. We used to be syndicated, but this is our first year out on our own. So Dad and I are keepering. I do most of the work and Dad tries to pretend that he does a bit. We spend most of our time arguing. In fact, the only thing we argue about is to shoot.
I've never yet won any of the arguments.
No, that's my goal, is to win them all. I don't like losing.
All right, tell me about the white pheasants, because that's why we're here today.
Well, they're a surprise. They're courtesy of
Bettis Hall,
who
bailed us out.
We got in a muddle.
We didn't get in a muddle. Dad forgot to order any pheasants.
No,
so
I did.
We were
order
getting
pheasants.
the pens ready.
We don't want to mention Glenn's name.
The three of us. No.
But
poor old
we
Hodgie.
thought we'd ordered it.
Basically,
It turns out
Dad had never rung to order any pheasants. Dad pretends that there was.
Ring.
No, he didn't.
He
Dad,
said I hadn't made up my mind about how many thousand we were going to have.
So we were getting the pens ready for nothing. But we are now ready, and we have 6. I think we got 6, or is it 8?
No, we had a
white
whole,
pheasants.
we had a whole crate of them. But
no, we didn't.
Unfortunately, the buzzard had 1 or 2 or 3.
I think we had a dozen. But anyway, we've got some. So thank you.
But does Bettis Hall supply you with white pheasants even if you don't want them?
Yep.
Yeah, by the sound of things, I think
That's
if you're sensible, we actually got all our maths wrong. So we've got 5 pens. We ended up putting far too many in one, and then the rest have got very few. So
what was your idea?
That was your idea.
A century ago, the white pheasant was a matter of pride, not argument. If you shot a white pheasant in the 19th century, you might have it stuffed. There are paintings of white pheasants going back hundreds of years. I meet Ian Hampton at the Ian Hodge Fieldsports Open Day, who runs the Duchy College gamekeeping course in Cornwall, where students manage a shoot and put down white pheasants. He says that today the bird's function is mainly as fundraiser.
So on our shoot days, we use it as a bit of a charity fundraising thing. So if the white pheasant comes over you, you get a fine if you shoot it. If you raise your gun and you don't shoot it, you still get a fine. Or if you take a shot and you miss it, you still get a fine. So it just adds to the day a little bit of fun and a little bit of it's also handy as well, because we've got a set amount of white pheasants out. So when you're going out in the mornings, and I teach the students when you're going out in the morning to have a look around, if you see the white pheasant there, you've got some idea, rough guesstimate of numbers.
The white pheasants all went in 1 pen, and they should never have gone in 1
yes,
pen.
They should have done. It's the only way we know where they've gone. If you put them 1 in each pen, how do you know which pheasant it is that's gone over there? So this is the obvious, sensible. You can understand the problem I'm having.
This is impossible.
There's one shoot that raises £5,000 a year for the East Anglian Air Ambulance, thanks to its white pheasants. And the white pheasant is celebrated in Cambridgeshire as the name of a gastropub. In the West Country, Jaf Jefferson describes how his gamekeeper grandfather would have used white pheasants, and to illustrate the point, he takes me out onto a grand, old-fashioned shoot in Somerset, where we find 2 white pheasants out on a bank.
We got a couple of white pheasants, Charlie. I mean, that's what we've come out to spot, and there they are. Yeah, every wood you see was all planted for shooting. Oh, a long time ago. Yeah, my granddad, he grew up on a farm, went to war in the Second World War, came back. And all basically he had back then was farming or gamekeeping, really, where he came from, which was down in Devon. Yeah, and he worked on farms and went into gamekeeping. So this is probably a 2,500 acre estate. Lots and lots of drives. I mean, maybe they would have had a few more drives back then, because labour was a lot cheaper.
When looking out for pheasants, it's all about the spotting. Jaf still has his granddad's old binoculars.
Yeah, they was always on his chest, or in his box, or in his car. I mean, yeah, they've seen some use. Certainly seen some use, you know.
Because let's bring this back to the white pheasants. That's one of the points of the white pheasant, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's for finding where your birds are.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can spot a white pheasant from anywhere. Binoculars certainly help. And they kind of say if white pheasants hang around, you know the rest of the birds are going to hang around. So they must feel pretty safe.
Today, Jaf has retired his granddad's binos and has a shiny new pair of eye skis. It's actually too good for the likes of you, I'm afraid.
Well, How can you say such a thing? No, I think they're brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I mean, far, far more superior, obviously, because of the age and the difference and the technology that's been involved.
Thanks, Jaf. There was a series of learned articles in a national newspaper in 2020 about the amazing sighting of a white pheasant by a birdwatcher and how rare this bird is. Well, it isn't. It's been part of the countryside for hundreds of years. Thanks to iSki Binoculars for sponsoring this film. For more about iSki Skytrek HD binos like the ones Jaf is using, have a look at our first look film, link in the description below.